Hello, good evening, and welcome back to another episode of the Final Flight podcast. We've got another Cheltenham Festival Countdown show, episode 3. Got another jockey on, Mr. Dylan Johnston. Good evening, mate. Thanks for coming on. How are you?
Good, yeah. No, how's everyone? I'm good, yeah. All good, yeah. No, not bad.
Yeah, good man.
Thanks
We're
for
all
having
very
me
well,
on.
thank you. Yeah, I mean, like I say, we're very well supported by the jockeys, so we do appreciate you coming on. You've obviously had some really good rides of late, some nice winners, some nice spins, so it's great to see. So we'll get stuck into you in a minute. Joe, chuffing hell, Joe's made it on the show. Has he got a signal tonight?
He does, and he actually has a base tonight as well. The hectic life has been put on pause.
No, well, take it on from me after this. I'm retiring and letting you take over, so we'll see how that goes. Rich, mate, obviously we had an okay weekend just gone. Some tasty stuff to talk about. I mean, the debate's already been starting as we were waiting to come on. I'm sure we'll get stuck into it. You looking forward to it, mate?
Yeah, it was some good racing, wasn't it? There was one mare in particular that I think everybody noticed. So,
well, we'll see how we'll see what we think about that. Anyway, all we like to do with this show is we have a little review of the weekend, some of the big matchups that we've had, and how they relate to sort of Cheltenham and the festival. Then we're going to talk to Dylan, if we can, about a few of your rides that you've had over the last few weeks, and maybe going forward as well. And then a couple of horses to follow for yourself, if you don't mind, any that you're associated or what have you. And then we'll have an anti-post selection each. I'm trying my hardest not to put a Donnelly horse up again. I've put 2 up so far, so we'll see what we end up with at the end of the show. So, starting then, I've come to you first if I can, Dylan. We obviously had Sir Gino make his debut over hurdles for this season in the fighting 5th. You obviously come second to him on lump sum. Can you give us some insight into how you thought that race went and how you thought lump sum went, and what do you think of Sir Gino?
Yeah, for a start, I thought it was a pretty mega performance from Sir Gino. I rode like a good race. I admittedly, we didn't go a crazy gallop, but we probably went a good kind of even gallop. And I was a little bit keen early on, which has cost me nothing, absolutely nothing. And we've come down to 2 out, and it just, I had a quick glance across, and the only way I can describe it is it looked like Nico had just kind of jumped in at the bottom of the straight. He literally came past me like he was doing a hack canter down to the start, and I just thought, wow, bloody hell, like it's a shame this crown wasn't a bit quicker and Nicky Henderson hadn't walked in and said, "Oh, we'll not run," because I knew at that point we were never getting near him. But at the same time, we're very, very proud of our horse. He's run a massive race. But yeah, it was hard to look at Nico going past me without moving a muscle, that's for sure.
Yeah, but you sat there thinking, well, you're obviously grafting your ass off and you're thinking, my days, what's just gone past me? But no, it's good to hear that's sort of how it went. I mean, I'll come to you, Rich, hearing that bit of insight. I mean, Sir Gino, he was mega, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, you cannot be impressed, can you? I mean, everyone thought, well, the market suggested that Mystical Power was the one that everybody wanted to be on. And so Gino drifted out to 6-4, was it? I can't remember what it was. Oh, off 6-5, but he was odds on for the start of the week. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I don't think Nico pressed many buttons, did he? But visually, very impressive. I don't really know what else to say. What else is to say? He was expected to win, I suppose. The top 2 were expected to win, and visually, yeah, very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's a shame Mystical Power kind of didn't turn up, but we'll sort of see if anything comes out of that after. But Joe, I mean, Sir Gino, we're obviously big fans of him. We thought probably if everything was in Mystical Power's camp or in his favour, and he sort of bombed out. And then, obviously, as Dylan said there, that it were a decently run race, and Sir Gino's just flew past. I mean, it's a pretty impressive start up, isn't it? After sort of the words of it, he might not run the ground and stuff like that, but yeah, I mean, it blew me away. I'll be honest with you, it blew me away big time. Like yourself, Joe.
Yeah, 100%, mate. I think it was, Lavender Hill Mob or Lavender Mob Hill come second or whatever, and everyone was saying the ground, and Sir Gino took a massive...
You're not wrong race there, Joe. Oh, you're not talking about a different race here?
Yeah, I'm talking about, obviously, the ground.
Sorry, go on, sorry.
A lot of people set the ground for that. Obviously, Nico was on board. That was sort of when the drift started to happen for Sir Gino. You know, and the exchanges went all over a bit, and everyone's like, Mystical Power a year older, got the ground. And it was sort of, you know, Sir Gino, has he lost a leg or whatever? And he was unbelievable. I mean, as a 4-year-old to do that, it was pretty impressive. You know, you look back through his runs, really. Nicky's weren't 100%. I mean, I know John Bond won that day, but at Aintree, I was there at the end of last season. Obviously, he got pulled out of Triumph. I mean, he would have blitzed them there, wouldn't he? But every performance, he steps forward, and he's got a lot left to go. But he can do that. And like you said, his RPR was very impressive. What more can you say? You know, that the talk of this weekend, and especially the champion hurdle, has just been enhanced 10 times over. I mean, if we get everyone there come March, what a race that was. Do you know what? It's just nice to have some serious contenders, you know, to talk about this early on.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, you know, we'll talk about that later, the champion hurdle sort of picture. I'm going to swim back around to you, Dylan. Obviously, we're going to fly over to Ireland now. We had a nice chasing debut for Impaire Et Passe. You managed to see it, and sort of, obviously, 2 mile 5 furlong. People are talking Arkle Browns. There's now no Turners. What did you sort of make of his debut over fences?
I thought it was as good a chase debut I've seen in a long time. I was watching it, and we seen Ballyburn the week before, and I thought, Jesus, that looked good. And then to pull one out a week later and look even better. Like, Staffordshire Knot is a 140 horse, and Impaire Et Passe made him look so ordinary in his first run over fences in a time that every horse in Mullins is apparently needing a run. Like, that horse, what mark has he ran to? Like, he's been unextended and beat a 140 horse by 12 lengths.
I mean, it's crazy when you say that. Like you say, he starts off a little bit slow, doesn't he? And now he's sort of starting to come out. But I mean, it's 2 mile 5. I mean, do you think, sort of watching that, could he drop back to 2 mile, or do you think he'd be a Browns type? I know a lot saying the Arkle.
You know, Willie, the top. I think Willie Mullins has that many top novice chasers that he could run any of them anywhere, and you'd fancy whichever one goes wherever they go.
Yep. Yeah,
like
I'd agree with
whether
that.
Ballyburn wants to go to an Arkle or a RSA as it was called, or whether Impaire Et Passe does that, or they can do whatever they want.
It's a nice,
That's my
nice
opinion on it.
dilemma to have, isn't it?
Oh, you know, and yeah, he's just a master, isn't he? And he probably isn't even worried about it yet. Everyone else is probably more worried about it than him. That just says it all. Every other trainer's worried about where he's running them, and I doubt he's worried at all.
Yeah, you bang right. I mean, we do all these shows and we try and dissect where they're all going, and even Willie probably don't decide till the week before. Rich, go on then, mate. Impaire Et Passe, what are your thoughts?
Well, pretty much the same as Dylan's, you know, very impressive. I mean, he's got some engine, hasn't he? He jumped pretty well. I don't know. I don't know if he'd drop back to 2 or if he'd step up to 3. I think I heard somewhere that Willie even mentioned that they may even skip Cheltenham and go somewhere else to a middle distance. I mean, it's a shame the Turners has gone to a handicap, because there would be some quite decent horses probably going to win it. But
What would it be? Impaire Et Passe v Ballyburn v God knows whoever else.
Exactly. Yeah, very good debut, you know. We'll see what he does next time, whether he steps up in trip. I mean, won by Corbett's Cross, won it last year, and he ended up in the National Hunt Chase. So we'll see where he ends up. But like you say, very impressive.
Yeah, it's hard to call. Joe, quick word on Impaire Et Passe, mate. Joe? Joe, are you even there, mate? I don't know if there's a delay or what, but it's just... Honestly, Dylan, mate, this is what happens every single week. I think he's froze, but we'll have to move on anyway. I'll come back to him. We're going to go over to the Raw Bond now, Dylan, and obviously we had Romeo Coolio.
Mate. I mean,
hang on.
You would probably say it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go on, mate. There's just a massive delay on you, mate. That's all. kick him out for a minute, I think. I'll have to remove him for a minute. Right, so Dylan, we'll go to the Royal Bond while Joe sorts his signal out. Obviously, Romeo Coolio has been a big talking horse of late for the Supreme. He obviously was pretty decent on debut, but he's been beaten in the Royal Bond. What do you make of it? Town Surveyor, I think it's pronounced. One.
Yeah, I think Romeo Coolio is a funny one. Like he kind of went into the champion bumper under the radar, and like he wasn't really obviously went off a big price in that, and Keith Donoghue riding, and I think the horse is like talked himself up a little bit with a few good runs. I thought at Down Royal he looked okay. Like I've just never just went wow when I've seen him do anything with a substance. And after the Royal Bond, he could just he'd need to improve a hell of a lot, or he could just be another Martin Pipe horse for the Gordon Elliott team of 15 that he runs in it sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, so it's one of them. I mean, obviously, they have the main hurdles over there, don't they, where they kind of don't beat anything. And although he did look impressive in, he jumped well and stuff like that, but to come out in the Royal Bond and then be beaten by sort of a 138 rated Town Surveyor, I think that's a big step backwards for him. Joe, you back?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Go on, mate. You just seem to freeze and delay there, but I can hear you now, mate. Do you want to just have a quick word on Romeo Coolio? Is that his bubble burst now?
I'm not too sure. I mean, he's always not been a maybe horse, but I remember he took that massive stinking drift, didn't he, at Cheltenham in the bumper, and he ran a decent race, but it wasn't something you'd say wow. And then the day before the weekend, it was just, I mean, it was an impressive performance, but what was in behind, and then obviously he comes up against some decent opposition. You're sort of questioning him, and for me, the Royal Bond, it looked good, but it didn't look too deep. I imagine Willie will have one there. I don't know if you're on him, James, or not, but I think Willie will have one there that is better somewhere. I would worry for him going to Cheltenham. He's got to improve a hell of a lot on that performance anyway, whether it was ran to suit or not. He had the fairest crack of the whip. The best horse, in my opinion, won the race. There was no excuse as to how it was ran or what. There was no excuse on the day to beat fair and square. So for me, he's got a lot of making up to do in a way.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Rich, obviously I put Salvatore Mundi up in the first show for the Supreme. He's obviously had a little bit of a setback, won't be seen till sort of Christmas or just after. That's the words of Willie. Romeo Coolio, a few people had put him up, a lot of well-known people had put him up. I'd say, is that bubble burst as well? What do you think, mate? I'd be worried, mate. Romeo Slowly, or I like to call him now.
I just don't think he's a 2-miler. I mean, if you look at his champion bumper run was fairly decent, to be fair, on his second run, but that was on soft and heavy. So I just think if the ground's decent, he'll get outpaced 9 times out of 10 over 2 miles. I just think, obviously, Gordon's probably going to step him up next time out. But yeah, maybe he's more of a Turner's novice hurdle prospect, I'd have thought now, looking at that. I mean, we'll wait and see next time what sort of race he runs, if he is over 2 miles 4 or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I just don't think he's quick enough for 2 miles.
Yeah, I think
unless the ground is a top slog, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Gordon Elliott kept coming out, didn't he, and sort of saying, "Oh, stay over 2, stay over 2." He sort of said he's my fastest horse, and I think that may be the case. And I think just stick him at 2 until
that's the case.
Stick him at 2 until he gets beat, and then, like I say, it's happened pretty quick. But like Dylan said, how many times we see these Gordon Elliott horses in behind in 2-mile races and step up in the handicaps, or whether it be in them, we'll wait and see. But right, we're going to move on to the big one now. I'm going to go to Dylan first. I want to hear a professional opinion. We've got Lossiemouth, Dylan, who's beaten Teahupoo. Rich goes on and on and on and on about this. Champion Hurdle. Joe put her up for mares. There's a bit of a battle going on. She's obviously beaten Teahupoo over 2.5 on decent ground in the Hatton's Grace. What are your thoughts on this race and Lossiemouth going forward?
I think First, I think it was run a little bit to suit her, but I also think she's an absolute monster. I don't think enough people give credit to mares that beat Grade 1 geldings. Like, I was only speaking about this right now at Sam Thomas's this morning. Like these are like the Olympic athletes of horses. And if you put, no disrespect, they don't let men and women run against each other in the Olympics. You know, animals, people, like, you know, the same makeup. And you have this mare coming out, okay, getting £7, I think makes no difference. I think if she had the same weight on her back, she'd have beaten the same way. I just think she's like Honeysuckle as well when she used to do it. Like, just don't. Them mares like that are just, when they're like that, they're just unbelievable. I think she wins whatever she wants to win.
Oh, Dylan, you're going to have Rich absolutely. Oh, we're not going to end this now.
Finally, somebody talking sense.
I suppose a quick word on Teahupoo then. Obviously, that they're likely to put him away now, like they did last year for the Stayers. How do you think he went on? Do you think he's fair favourite for the Stayers again?
Yeah, unless Lossiemouth decides to step up to 3 mile. No, I think Sam Ewan came in and done the same thing I done on Saturday. He probably looked at Gordon Elliott the same way I looked at Sam and shrugged his shoulders and walked off. And just said what you meant to do.
Yeah,
I think if they went a better gallop in the Hatton's Grace, Paul would have just followed him up the straight and went past him the same way he did. I just think I seen her at Cheltenham last year and I just thought this is a different animal now to the juvenile that we seen the year before. And she's just got better and better and better.
Taste of that, mate. So, champion hurdle then, massively favourite, obviously. Rich, I'll come to you first, yeah. Go on then, mate. Obviously, Lossiemouth, she's won it well. Don't get me wrong, she's won it well. I do think everything were in her favour, but you're going to tell me different, I suppose.
I mean, I don't think she broke a sweat, did she? Barely got out of second gear. I mean, she clattered one as well, which only makes it a bit better for me. I mean, I know people are going on saying, oh, Teahupoo's a 3 miler, but you can only beat what's in front of you, and she pretty much just battered him out the way like he wasn't even there. I just don't know how people cannot be impressed with her. She's an absolute weapon. She beats everything by a good distance. I just don't get why people aren't jumping on.
Well, I mean, for me, obviously, I mean, Betfair 6-4. I think that's way too short. Me personally, there's a lot of water to go under the bridge. If you're on her at a bigger price, I think fair enough. It's, she's probably fair favourite of what we've maybe seen so far. Although I do think Sir Gino, he's got a high ceiling, so we'll obviously see what happens. Joe, you obviously put her up for the mares in the thought that she'd end up there. She may still end up there. There's still time. There's talk of will they mention sending her over? You what, Rich?
Not a chance.
So what? Well, let me finish my sentence then. If she comes over to Kempton for the Christmas hurdle, you might have Sir Gino, maybe. You might even have Constitutional in there, probably one or the other. What if she gets beat then?
I guarantee you won't have lump sum in it if they're there. That's for sure.
Yeah, so if you've got Lossiemouth and Constitutional and Sir Gino, you don't think lump sum's going to turn up, Dylan? No.
Oh well, look, he'll have an entry on his merit, but I doubt we'll be keen to take on Sir Gino again. That's for sure. Especially when you have like an international hurdle and stuff like that. Just after Christmas, we'd have to be realistic as well.
I think there's definitely more wins in lump sum though. He's been a big favourite of ours since he sort of started off, and when you sort of pushed when he pushed Jericho Repine closer, when me and Rich were there at Doncaster, we thought there's a nice horse. There's a nice horse there on a bit more softer ground, so I thought you ran well to say it was good. Did you say that? In fact, just a quick one, do you think the ground would have suited lump sum there? But it was good ground in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think
he handled it well.
I think he's quite versatile. I think I do think he's quite versatile. I'm really like it. Probably just because he gets away with running on such heavy ground, he maybe looks like it suits him so much better because other horses it doesn't suit. Whereas I think he's good on whatever ground, really.
Love that. Well, we'll be watching him going forward. Go on then, Joe. So you obviously put Lossiemouth up for the mares. You spanked Teahupoo pretty easily. It looked like he needed it anyway. So, I keep trying to think of all these excuses. Are you a bit worried now about your mare's ticket? Do you think she's going to be champion hurdle now? Do you think she'll get beat in Christmas, maybe?
Yeah, she was. She was brilliant. She's obviously. She's the newcomer. Do you know what I mean? Just like Sir Gino, you don't really. You know where they're at. They are at that level, but you just don't know are they at that level yet. In a way, I'd say. Obviously, she was brilliant, but I would like to see her over a 2-mile trip. Going at. You say that, but she has sort of answered them questions already. But one thing I would say is, I'd like to you try and dissect Willie Mullins' brain, and I know you can't, but is the reason he'd send Lossiemouth over at Christmas and keep Stateman over there? Stateman's been there and done it. Obviously, you've got Sir Gino in the picture, you've got Constitution Hill in the picture, you've got Brighter Days Ahead in the picture. You have an inkling, obviously the money's come for the champion hurdle. I think 6-4 is very short. I know, Rich, you've got a brilliant price there in 7-2, but I think you can admit at the minute, you've got a long way to go. I think 6-4 is pretty short. I think if the horses turn up on the day, I think you will get that anyway, or around about that. But yeah, she was brilliant. She was the ground, the favour, everything. I know the money comes. She was probably entitled to do that, but the manner she done it, I think that was what was impressive. Paul's body language, I don't think he moved his arse, did he? So she was very impressive. Do you know what? I would like to see Lossiemouth and Brighter Days Ahead go at, a 2-mile 4 distance. Maybe not at Cheltenham. I'd like them to take each other on. I think that'd be an absolute cracker of a race. But we'll just see.
Yeah, obviously they might end up. I think Christmas is going to be great. I really do hope they send her over. I know they mentioned the international, but I think mentioned that for is it Anzadam for the Donnellys? They might be sending him to that one and Lossiemouth to the Christmas hurdle, which will be great. If I know obviously we're hoping that's where Constitution Hill's going to make his return. I won't waste too much time talking about him because we just need to hope he comes back at some point. If he does, the great. If he doesn't, then it's a real shame. But yeah, Lossiemouth, Stateman, Sir Gino. It's shaping up to be a decent champion hurdle if they all turned up. So we'll see what happens. And I think Tupu, we'll talk about him later. Right, so that's it for sort of the weekend review. So if I can, Dylan, I'm going to come to you. We're just going to talk about a few horses that you've ridden lately. We've already spoken about lump sum, so we won't go back over that. But you won on debut at Taunton on Dr. Blue. I just thought, what were your thoughts of that? You thought it was a truly run race sort of thing? Is he one to follow going forward?
He's definitely one to follow. It was probably anything but a truly run race, to be perfectly honest. It was probably one of the messiest bumpers I've ridden in a long time. Like, looking back now, horse that Joe Ponting's probably got a free lead early, and a couple of people were struggling to keep hold of their horses, and it was an absolute mess of a race. I think Arlod is good because I think I tried my hardest to get him beat by just giving him a bad ride.
Love your honesty.
The first thing I said when I got off that horse was, "That's a good horse, Sam," because he's won when I done everything I shouldn't have done. And he was raw. Going into it, it was quite a learning curve. Yeah, I just think he's a really good horse. Yeah.
Love that. Well, we're going to move on to another very good horse. Obviously, Steel Ally. Second behind lump sum, and then you've gone and won at Haydock. Talk us through that. The weather was absolutely shocking in the end. How did you enjoy that ride? You must have enjoyed that off the front.
Yeah, I loved it. No, it's a nice place. I think it's a nice place to make the running when you have a horse underneath you that kind of travels. He stepped up in trip, and we weren't like, this horse needs 2.5 miles or this or that, and probably a bit better on nicer ground. And the whole way up there, the rain is absolutely teeming off my window of my car. I'm thinking, oh no, this isn't good. But he was mega impressive. Really, he was tough. He was, I think he's a really tough horse, and I think he'll be a really good novice chaser next year.
Love that novice chasing. I like it. I've got a question for you. when you're riding in a race, when it's like chucking it down like that, how much more difficult does it make it for you? You as a jockey on there, seeing where you're going and stuff. Is it a lot harder? I know you got the goggles on and stuff, but
Yeah, not massively. I mean, maybe if you're 6 or 7 deep in amongst them all, it can get a bit messy and whatever. But I don't think it. Yeah, it's just one of them things. Sometimes it can be dry and you can get just as mucky. You kind of just see past it.
Nice, right? Well, moving on to another very, very good horse. Obviously, we're going to go over to Ascot now, and you've, a massive talking horse amongst a lot of people on Twitter, Celtic Dino, and you've absolutely bolted up here as well. What do you make of this horse, and where do you see him going next, sort of thing? He's got a high ceiling as well, hasn't
Yeah, hopefully I think he's got an official mark of 134 after his 2 wins. I think he's as like, okay, I'll admit I've not sat on a Sir Gino or a Constitution Hill, but I'd say he's as good a novice I've ever sat on, that's for sure. I think at Ascot he wasn't as visually as impressive at Wincanton, because I think if you look at the racing at Ascot that day, nothing massively galloped through the line. Like they had it as like kind of good to soft, and they'd had sleet and whatnot, and I think it was like quite tacky holding ground. And I think that just took that kind of X factor speed out of him down to the last, which probably is a bit harsh because he's jumped the last and went away from some really, really good horses. But like I think he could have done what he did to horses at Wincanton at Ascot if it was on good ground. He's as nice a horse in our yard.
Love that. Well, like I say, we get really excited for these types of horses who can go and win like that, and it's good rides for yourself. Right, the last one that I'm going to speak about, and I mean I've watched this race about 3 or 4 times now. Before I wasn't going to ask you about it, but Need a Win looked like one of the hardest rides I've ever seen. I mean, it was all over the place. What do you make of this and this horse?
Yeah, it's a hard one, really. We went there kind of, thinking nice horse, does everything we've asked of him well. Had some good schooling, and he did actually. Like, I can't take it away from the horse. He jumped well for what he did jump. I think it's a bit back to the drawing board for Sam. I think he's mentioned maybe a Utoxeter, which would be the right way around. But he'll need to grow up. That's the kind of short and sweet of it.
Yeah, because it seems to still be going well, but it's back left-handed, we think then, yeah. See how it goes next time.
Yeah.
Love it. Right, that's sort of the ones we were going to go through. My next sort of question to you is, we normally like to ask for a couple of horses to follow, whether it's horses you're going to be riding or just horses that, you're in and amongst day to day that we might not have seen yet or that are coming up. Have you managed to get 2 for us?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to put Dr. Blue forward after Taunton. I was actually looking on the way to the races today because I wanted to make it sound a bit interesting, but he actually produced 3 12-second furlongs for the last 3 furlongs of that race at Taunton, which is pretty exceptional. I heard a few people talking about lump sum during the week saying, he ran a 1 sub 13-second furlong at Fosslas when he won the Welsh Champion Hurdle, but I mean, Dr. Blue's done 3 of them at Taunton in it was a sprint of a bumper, but I think that's a fair effort for a horse having his first time on a race course.
That's pretty quick, that.
And the other one is one of Mr. Walter's horses at Neil Mulholland's called Blue Lass. Again, another mare that ran against geldings and just found one of Ben Pauling's too good at Fosslas maybe about 10 days ago. But that was a mega run, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to sitting on her again over the next couple of weeks.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to get them added to the trackers. We've had some decent winners from the jockey guests so far. So hopefully a couple of them two can sort of pop up for us. It'd be grand that. Nice one. Right, so what we'll do next is then we're going to do our anti-post selection. So we'll fly around the lads and then we'll finish with you, Dylan. Then we might have a little worry about a couple that are coming up this week. But I'm obviously going to go to Rich first. Now, you've obviously put Lossiemouth up for the champion hurdle. You put Get It Warrior up for the champion chase. What's the next Rich horse? It's not going to be William de Huel or whatever it's called for the Triumph. He's obviously, his bubbles burst again a little bit. I mean, I've said that 4 times so far tonight. So talk us through your week 3 selection. I don't have any graphics tonight because I didn't have time at work, but you're going for this time. Taking me on, aren't you?
Yeah, so I've kind of moved away from the favourites now. I think I've got 2 solid picks. So the next one I'm going to chance is the Jukebox Man for the Browns. I mean, he made his chase debut at Newbury on Friday. I think he beat some nice horses. And you've got Captain Teague in there, Johnny Who, Nasakio, Boomborn. I mean, he just jumped like a stag. I mean, first time out to send him over into a grade 2. I just think that's very impressive. I mean, Hermes Allen won it last year. I just think he's got a bit better with the fences. You know, he finished second to Stella Store in the Albert Bartlett. I think that's pretty decent form. I mean, you had Dancing City in there back in 3rd. Okay, he reversed that at Aintree, but I just think fences have improved him a bit more. And I'm sure Ben Pauling said that the only option is 3 miles. He's not going to drop back to the Arkle for 2. So the only option they have is the Browns. So that's why I'm going for that. I think it's about 12-1 best price. So I'm going to take a little punt at that with a point each way. I think I'm on a nice race. I mean, he couldn't be more visually impressive jumping those fences at Newbury. So, yeah, fingers crossed. Bit of an outside chance.
Yeah, at least you get the place money back. Dylan, we like to ask the guests what they make of the picks. What do you think of the Jukebox Man's debut over fences?
Yeah, like he said, it was visually very, very impressive. He kind of. I remember being at Cheltenham the day that he was just pipped, and I just, he still looked quite raw and quite babyish last year, and I kind of thought, that could be a mega horse when we see him again this year. But just be worried. He's obviously a bit of a character, isn't he? And like at Cheltenham last year, he probably done plenty with Keelan, and it takes more than just being a good racehorse to win at Cheltenham. I think they also need to deal with the occasion. I do think he's, as I say, visually impressive. He's going to win loads of races, and I couldn't put you off him for that. But the only thing I would say is it's a hell of an atmosphere, and I just hope it doesn't boil him over at the festival.
Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, hopefully they all get there. I mean, I put Dancing City up. Obviously, he come third that day as well. Hopefully they can go back there and put in good performances. It's going to be a nice race at Browns, I think. Joe, go on then. So you've obviously got you had Malmesbury for the Browns. Whether he'll go there, I don't know. We'll see. I know some of Willie's been speaking about him of late, and you've also got Lossiemouth for the Mares. So you could be on the back foot a little bit, mate. I want to know what your episode 3 selection is.
It's a bit of a rogue one, to be fair, but I am still very confident, and I was when they said they were going to keep him hurdling, that Gino will end up in that Arkle. You can get 7-1. It's not a massive bet, but looking at the betting, I'm looking and I'm thinking, well, Ballyburn jumped like a proper staying chaser. He was impressive, but he is a staying chaser. If you look at that market, Sir Gino, and Nicky said straight after his run at Newcastle, he jumps fences way better than he jumps a hurdle. And I just think how deep the champion hurdle is now. You've got Lossiemouth, you've got potential Constitution Hill, you've got Amsterdam for the Donnellys, you've got Stateman for the Donnellys, you've got Brighter Days Ahead could go there. You've got a well sort of populated champion hurdle there. Nicky tries to stick with a plan. I know he said he was going to reroute, but he did say, I'm going to reroute and we'll try and end up going where we were meant to go. I still think he will end up in the Arkle. I just think it'll be a much easier race. And I really can see him going novice chasing, especially when they made that decision. I know he was good at Newcastle, and I know he was brilliant, but I just think will they send him there with that, the heavy hitters of the champion hurdle? I can't see it. I think they've set their mind up. They'll have had a plan out for him, and I think they'll try and stick to that. To be honest,
would they waste his novice season, novice chase season from like January onwards though?
What's that? Sorry.
If he goes to the Arkle, he'll not be a novice chaser next year, and he's going to only got 4 months to get to Cheltenham.
Yeah, surely I mean, you haven't seen a lot of horses out yet. You've only seen Ballyburn a few weeks ago, Impaire Et Passe a couple of days ago. Lossiemouth just made a reappearance. You've seen they are pretty well schooled, especially Nicky. I know you've seen Jericho repping it, but he'll know where they're at home, how they're jumping. And to be fair, if you actually watch Sir Gino jump the hurdles, especially the last, he was pretty big and bold over it. He wasn't a champion hurdle like jumping horse. Now, no disrespect to the opposition, you probably didn't see it as much at Newcastle, but I think at Cheltenham, when you've got horses like Lossiemouth, Stateman's been there and done it. I know it's a big if, but if Constitution Hill turns up, them jumping sort of stats, and you've seen the race IQ pot about it before with Mystical Power, they'll be highlighted a lot more in the champion hurdle. I just think it will be. There's a lot of water to go under the bridge, but I just think 7-1 now. If he turns up for the Arkle, he wins that. I mean, I think he wins that anyway. And I think if you can see the way he jumped the hurdle, I know he was good and he was safe, but he was pretty high. And I think he'll still end up there, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a brave selection. Obviously, I mean, what do you think? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know we'd say, Donnelly's have got Stateman, Sir Gino, I know. But I do think, I mean, somebody posted something on my Twitter the other day, but I don't think the Donnellys are really even that involved in the planning or the races of where they're going. I think it's literally like, do what you say. I mean, it's Hendo. I mean, I think, go on.
I mean, you've seen Hendo's done it before. He's had questions about, is it right? Is that right? But he had it with Jonbon. He stuck to his task with Jonbon. A lot of people were saying, step him up to the Ryanair, do this, do that, do whatever. I think he's pretty set. Like I say, I think he'll make his mind up. But I genuinely do think that, he's blessed that he's got sort of 2 hot. I mean, how many trainers can you say you have a favourite for the fighting fifth, and you pull Constitution Hill out and you put Sir Gino in there and he puts a performance in like that? But I still do think the eye is on the prize. He's still schooling over the fences. He only done 1 session over hurdles, didn't he? And that's, well, apparently so. Thursday or Wednesday before he jumped 4 hurdles to get his eye back in. So he's clearly been jumping the larger obstacles, and that's still a task until, the plan until the last minute. Obviously, it's tough, but I just think this early on, it's very tough to call. But I think if you can spare a couple of quid, I don't think if you're willing to obviously lose that money when you bet, I think 7-1, 5 or 10 will be well worth it if he does end up going there.
Yeah, it's a brave selection. I mean, what do you think, Dylan? I mean, obviously you've seen Sir Gino in the flesh over hurdles. They've obviously got Constitution Hill. We don't know what's going on with him.
I'm going to go to the toilet when he shoots me down.
I mean, I feel like he might do, but what do you think? Do you think probably they just keep him in the champion hurdle now, unless Constitution Hill comes back to full throttle? What do you think?
This might sound a bit outrageous, but how surprised would you be if Sir Gino ran another couple of times this season before Cheltenham, and Nicky came out and said, "This is a horse that just turned 5, that's ran 8 times. We're going to give him a good long break and go novice chasing next year, and we don't see him at Aintree or Cheltenham." I mean, it's completely outrageous, but when you think of the profile of the horse, he's ran 5 times already, and he's not even 5 yet. He's had 5, and he's not ran in 5, 2 bumpers and 2 novice hurdles. He's had I just yes, he's gonna have pressure. Mr. Henderson, I don't think cares whether there's public pressure on him to run a horse or not. As everyone knows, he'll do what he thinks is best for the horse. And as the lads are saying, look, he might well. I'm 80% he's probably going to turn up at Cheltenham, but just a little bit of me thinks like Mr. Henderson is the absolute king at having these horses kind of there, bringing them along so well. I just wouldn't be surprised if he just said, right, I think that's enough now, and we can look forward to him being the next Sprinter Sacre next October.
I mean, you say it sounds outrageous, but to be fair to you, when you sort of put it through, I mean, it would have had another race and all if it weren't for being pulled out of trying for whatever issues they had going on. But like you say, I think we forget with you what, Rich?
It sounds more sensible than running the Arkle.
In the Arkle this year, yeah. I mean, is it a case of are we just expecting so much so soon off Sir Gino because we've seen him that much? We forget how young he is. Could they just plod him along and save him for that Arkle next year? I mean, it'd be pretty. There'd have to be something pretty decent come out this year to be going up against him next year. Like
It was a better
90.
response than the Dan Skelton Rich one. No. I was expecting that. I thought I'm going to get shot down here, but no.
Well, to be fair, he didn't say that he won't run. He just didn't run off. Go on, Dylan. Sorry, mate.
I think when I think when you think about I'd say 90% of the Andy Post favourites for Cheltenham next year had ran once when they were Sir Gino's age in an Irish 4-year-old point to point. I can't help but think in the back of Mr. Henderson's head somewhere he's thinking, I need to think of the longevity of this horse. I'm not burning him out as a 4-year-old turning 5, running him in these the Champion Earl is going to be a dogfight no matter what. Like them Grade 1 top races, you can only run so many of them. I don't know. Look, it could come to March and it'll be the most stupid comment of all time, but I just wouldn't be completely surprised.
No, I think it's a fair comment. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I mean, I put Salvatore Mundi up, who obviously run against him in France. He had 2 runs last year. I know he might have had a little bit of a setback, but look how sort of Willie's taking his time with that horse. He's had 2 runs. We're not going to see him now till after Christmas. And in that time, Sir Gino's had 5 runs or whatever he's had, and I think people are expecting so much of him. And I think it's such an interesting one. It's such a good horse, and I can't wait to see how he gets on. Your comments have made Joe disappear a lot, Rich. Dylan, that's good. I like that. Get you on next time as well. Right then, so we'll go to my selection and we'll finish on your selection, Dylan. I've had obviously Salvatore Mundi in the Supreme. We're not going to see him until after Christmas. I've already said that, but I don't mind that at all. And then I had Dancing City in the Browns. I'm trying my hardest not to put any more Donnelly.
State Man, is it, James? State Man? Yep. You going for State Man or what are the Donnelly colours?
I'm going for the State Man, Sir Gino, Anzadam, Tricast. No, I'm not going to put a Donnelly horse up this time, no. I was teetering on the edge of going for a certain horse, but I've kind of flip-flopped a little bit. And I'm actually going to go for the Arkle myself. And I'm going to go for a horse of Henry de Bromhead's that's actually coming back as, I think he's a second season novice chaser. We were going to see him last year, and he was in behind an horse that we obviously loved, who was no longer with us, Facile Vega, and that's In the Pocket. I'm going to take a chance on In the Pocket. I thought his chase return this season over at Wexford, over 2 mile, was really impressive. He's battered Farron Glory. No, Farron Glory is not exactly. Well, he has come out and won since and come second in the Grade 2 over at Punchestown to a nice one for Gordon Elliott as well, called Touch Me Not. I think this is just a really nice horse. And I know he's a 7-year-old, and I don't know if the record's really that much cop, but de Bromhead won the Arkle with put the kettle on, so he knows how to get one right for this. I think this horse is just going to go under the radar a little bit because you've obviously got the likes of Ballyburn, Sir Gino, Impaire Et Passe, and then I don't really think you've got much else. If I'm honest, if I'll just quickly get the Mac up, because I've tried it. No, I've lost it. But yeah, I just think it's a wide open Arkle. Ballyburn, I can't get my finger on Ballyburn. I think he's more of a stayer, but now the turner's in there. I know you mentioned Rich will even go to Cheltenham. I mean, it's hard not to go with him because he looks so good. But yeah, I'm going to take a chance on In the Pocket at a price of at a price of, here we go, 100 to 1. No, it's 10 to 1. Yeah, I think that's a fair cop. Ballyburn and Sir Gino ahead of him. You've got Leo de Sud for the Skeltons, who did look really impressive. But I just always worry about these UK horses going up against the Irish who just never seem to fire, don't we? Firefox obviously bombed out last time. although it was over further. He'd be better coming back in trip, obviously. But yeah, just don't. I don't know. Just don't fill me with much confidence. Malmesbury, well, whether he'll go here, I don't know. Probably. And then you're sort of into bigger prices. I mean, Dylan, in the pocket, now that Sir Gino's not even going to Cheltenham, cheers for that. In the pockets to lose. Ballyburn, do you think you can beat him?
I think In the Pocket has the right man training him. I think he's an exceptionally good trainer at targeting races. Like I'd say if you like depicted his record of, you know, horses that have ended up being really good, like you know, winning at Cheltenham and stuff. He's just a really, really good trainer, isn't he? Like they're always, it's very okay. Yes, you might say, oh, maybe the Bromhead horse is running a little bit quiet at the moment, but they always seem to be right when it matters, which is a testament to him, really. I wouldn't put you off him, but I just think whatever way he wants to split them up, or whether he wants to run. Just there's maybe one that we haven't even seen yet that you might be talking about in 3 weeks' time that man has. That's the scary thing.
Yeah, it is very true, and I suppose we're trying to find, you know, do you want to take 9-4, 2-1 Ballyburn? It's kind of like, do we try and find something against, or because they're the sort of prices you might end up with similar on the day. But yeah, like you say there, I mean, do you get involved with Willie Bingo? They could all run in any of the races, and they'll be right up there in the head of the market. So maybe we'll look a bit silly taking one or two of them on, but we'll certainly pay to find out. So, have you yourself got us an anti-post pick for this week? We've currently got, I think it's Diva Luna, was put up by Keelan Woods for the Mayor's Novice, and we had Henry Brook on last episode. He put up Grey Dawning for any race. Which way you swim, mate? Got a pick for us?
Yeah, I don't know what price it is. You might be able to find out. And it's probably a bit of a stab into the dark, really. But I think East India Dock in the Triumph Hurdle. I think he's proven around there. It's very, very seldom you get to see a horse pull up halfway up the hill in Cheltenham. Never mind do it and still win by 20 lengths. Usually they do it when they can barely put one foot in front of the other and then get beat. But this horse has done it looking around for where the rest of them are. It's beating an Ollie Murphy horse rate at 125. Whether that rating maybe is inflated or whatnot, but I think that was a seriously good performance.
Yeah, I mean, you can get 13-2. He were mega impressive. I mean, we knew there was a horse in behind, Want the Rich for Greenhalls, and East India Docs just blew them all away. And like you say there, it's not often you sort of see horses who sort of take to the hill like he did. And you're sort of looking in behind, and you've got horses, especially a couple of the so-called talking horses, Willie de Huel and all them being beaten. So it's a wide open triumph at the moment. So East India Docs. What did you make of? What was the horse that Owen said that was better than him that got beat the other day? What was it called? Lavender Hill Mob. Who knows what they say at home, eh?
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, I'd say they'll be doing well to say. Yeah, he won't be saying that anymore, I don't think.
No, I don't think, mate. No, but you got 13-2 there. So go on, Rich. You say
East India Dock could be out at entry at the weekend, so his price may even shorten more if he bolts up in that.
Well, yeah, 13-2 best price. Get a little bit of that at the moment. It's not a bad price at all. Fantastic, mate. So thanks for that. It's good. Some good picks there. We're going to finish now. Then, just on a quick word. I've looked through your entries over the week. I've got a couple of rides here for you. You've got Palacio over at Haydock on Wednesday. Is he going to win? He's going to bolt up.
Palacio, he actually doesn't run. He has an entry at Sandown on Saturday.
Right.
Palacio, his bumper form looks average to say the least, but I think he's kind of filled into his frame, and Chepstow was probably impressive. I hope he's still learning because he probably needs to just chill out a little bit. He's still a little bit bonkers, really. And he's, Philip Hobbs' horse in behind him has franked the form quite a lot, running quite good races since. Look, I think wherever he goes, we'll be hopeful that he'll run another big race. But as I said, I think I said it straight afterwards at Chepstow, he'd need to back it up to really solidify in my head that he's a proper horse.
Love that. Well, we'll look forward to him. And Jubilee Express, I think he's doubly hinted as well, to be fair. Are you going to be riding him this weekend?
Yeah, I would imagine Jubilee Express will go to Exeter on Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Track should suit.
3 miles 6, a good trip that.
Yeah, the track should suit, the ground should suit, the trip should suit. He could potentially be a Welsh national horse, or well, a horse to run the Welsh national for Sam this year. So we'll see where we stand after that.
Yeah, I think you're about 20 to 1 for Coral Welsh Grand National, so hopefully he can run well on Friday, or if not win and go for that as well. It'd be great. Lovely. Well, mate, that's it. So, one final word then. Obviously, Joe's already buggered off, so that's fine. We don't mind that. We used to not being here. But just a quick word on we have the competition that we're running alongside. So if you are watching this show and you do enjoy it, make sure you add your anti-post teams into the comments. Hacked Up Racing are obviously partnered up with us for this, and they're going to supply a nice body warmer, a hat, a pair of socks, and mug, and all that, So it's definitely worth getting involved in that, and hopefully you can win some stuff at the end of the series. Dylan, mate, thank you for coming on. We really do appreciate it. I think you've been a great guest. Have you enjoyed yourself? Been all right?
No, it's been great. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you coming on, mate. It's great to have the jockeys on and just give us a bit more insight. And it's nice to listen to somebody who probably knows a lot more than we do, which is great. So yeah, Rich, obviously it's been good. We'll hopefully have another preview on Thursday. We've got a big weekend. The Beaches obviously on Saturday, so we're all in on a certain horse for that. So we'll leave that for Thursday. Hopefully you've all enjoyed yourself. We're going to be back with episode 4 in a couple of weeks. We'll have a good guest lined up for that. I've got someone in mind already that's looking like he's ready to go. So we'll be excited for that. Like and subscribe to the channel as always. Once again, Dylan, thank you very much. Cheers, Rich.
Cheers.
Thanks,
See you all
Thank
next time. Thank you,
Cheers.
and goodbye.